Today's challenge, memorize the streets of Buenos Aires. And there are a lot of them, but I've had to ask for directions too many times and made too many navigational errors on the subway and so on to have to keep doing that. So now the goal here is I'm actually not going to try to memorize all the streets and see how long it takes. Instead, I'm going to see how much I can get done in 1.5 hours. So it's 3 o'clock now. I'm going to see what I can get done and have really solid by 4:30. Now the goal here is I'd like to memorize all the streets in the areas that I spend the most time in. So that'd be from Balvanera over to Retiro, over to Puerto Madero, down to San Telmo, and all the streets in between. If I have extra time after I'm done with that, I'll get over to Palermo as well, which is where it's an area I want to visit. The strategy here is I'm going to create two lists, one for the north-south streets and one for the east-west streets. And so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to record myself listing all of the streets in order, those two lists. And I'll listen to that list every 15 minutes right before doing a video update. So I'll do a video update for all of you every 15 minutes to tell you what my status is. This is a very quick project. Now, the second step after doing those recordings is I'm going to create a sort of memory palace, a sort of map of mnemonics for all of this stuff. So I'll create stressed syllable mnemonics for all the major north-south streets, and I'll use them to separate a mental map of substrates. So this north-south street separates this substrate from this substrate, like earth from rock or something like that. And I'll explain that next time. The next one I'll do is I'll do the major streets, east and west, and use them to separate different types of weather, like snow or hot sun or, things like that. The final thing is to memorize each individual street, the smaller streets between those major streets, and place them in those areas between the major streets. So each individual east-west street is going to have its own, sort of weather that it applies to. And then the north-south streets will have a different substrate that each one applies to. And then any intersection, of course, will fall somewhere in there with a particular substrate and a particular type of weather going on. Now, it's 3:05 right now. I have about 10 minutes to do the first step, so I'll give you an update in just a few minutes here. Well, right off the bat, things are different than I thought they would be because so many of these streets have two names, even in this little area where I am. So I've gone ahead and chosen just one name per street, and hopefully I can learn the other name for each one of those streets soon. Now that said, it's taken me a little longer than I thought it would to list out all these streets, so now I'm just about to record the list of streets so that I can listen to those every 15 minutes or so that the names of the streets are in my head. So that's the next thing here. Well, it's a little past 3:30 and I just now got those streets recorded. So I got those lists of all the names of the streets recorded. So I have 1 hour left to do all the actual memorization. But hopefully that'll be fairly easy because the mnemonics are something that I know pretty well. I should be able to toss these into a palace that I create really quickly, and then, yeah, hopefully I can get this done in the next hour. Okay, I changed my approach slightly. Instead of having the substrates go this way, I have the substrates going this way. So here are the major streets. I know that that's San Juan, and that this is the one that the stress syllable is Don. I don't remember what it is. So, and of course I know Callao and Luis. But anyway, so these are substrates between the streets, and then I'm going to put weathers here. So you can see it's a cross section. Everything north of this street is in ice. Everything here is in water. This is mud. This is grass. This is sand. This is rock, and this is lava. That's for the east-west streets. For the north-south streets, they'll be in particular weathers, and I'll represent that in a particular manner in a little bit. Okay, I think we're in good shape. Don't be confused here, I turned it sideways, so you're seeing I'm doing the east-west streets first. But this is the one where the stress syllable is Don. I got this wrong earlier. This is Julio, not Luis, if I said it wrong earlier. But now see, all this area is on fire, and that's these streets. The Thai is on fire, the Paso is on fire. I'm imagining somebody walking on fire there. The Bear is on fire, Bruce Wayne is on fire, You are on fire, Boo is on fire, Ni is on fire, Ku is on fire, Bomb is on fire. The rain is applying to all of these guys. So with the wand, it's raining on a magic wand, and it's raining on somebody I know named Todd. And then the snow, the patch, Winnie the Pooh, Teen, Kiss, Mayo, as in mayonnaise. So I'm applying the weather to these east-west streets. And then I just have to rotate it again to work on the north-south streets based on the substrates, what type of land they're on. Now I have all the streets mapped out. I don't have the names on some of the major streets, but I know those pretty well. And so I have them all in their spots. I have about between 10 and 15 minutes left to finish this project. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to test myself with this Quizlet set. It doesn't have any answers on this side. I'll just use the flashcards and see in shuffled order if I can remember where these things are. And for any that I can't remember, like Lopez, if I can't remember where that is, I will go over here and I remember that it's in the ice somewhere. So now I'll remember that Lopez is north of Santa Fe. And so I'm going to quiz on these really quickly and see how I do. Did it, and just barely in the nick of time. So basically at this point, what I can do is, if you gave me the names of any of these streets, I could almost definitely tell you whether it was a north-south street and where it is in relation to the big streets. So if it's a big street, I'll know where it is. If it's a small street, I know which two streets it's between. And again, if it's a north-south or an east-west, I'll know that as well. So theoretically, at any given intersection in this area, unless I'm so far south that the north-south streets' names have changed, I wasn't able to get to that, but at intersections I should know where I am. And there's really more to it than that, because not only will I never be lost, because I can always see where I am from the intersection and figure out exactly where I am on the map, I can also add information to this map. So if there's a particular restaurant or something like that that I want to know where to find, all I have to do is remember let's say it's somewhere between, these two streets is somewhere between Cordoba and Santa Fe. It is in the water. And if it's between Callao and, wow, this is embarrassing. Oh, Julio. If it's between Callao and Julio and between Cordoba and Santa Fe, then it's where there's water and it's raining. So I just imagine that restaurant is in the water and it's raining on the restaurant. And I can do that with any of these substrates and any of these situations. So here it's grass, but it's on fire. And so yeah, hopefully I won't get lost anymore. It'll take a little bit of review and practice after this point, but I think that I can call this a success.